13:14 pastime common. 10 a B, and then there's Lil B, of course, feminine touch of the program. Do you know what throning is?
Throning?
Throning.
No.
It's new for the Gen Zers.
Okay.
It says, this is from Fortune magazine. It says, Gen Zers are dating people 25% better than they are. They're calling it throning.
10 a B.
And experts say it's a quick ticket to long-term success. In other words, instead of reading the whole thing, I guess I can explain to you what they're trying to say here. Not, by the way, they want me to. They let me read the story the first time. Now they want me to pay for it. What it is, it's not just like marrying a rich guy, but it's marrying somebody that's a little higher up.
Like out of your league, 25% out of your league a little bit?
Yeah, so that all of a sudden...
We call it outkicking your coverage. That's what we called it back in the day.
Well, and one of the examples would be like a Kardashian marries somebody and then they lift themselves up because now they're hanging with more of the beautiful people, more people with more power and stuff. And then that helps lift them up. And then whoever they're with, they don't have to worry about them. They become what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, they can now create a career on their own with the beautiful people because they're now part of that.
They become the thronee instead of the throner.
Yeah, they're established now.
They're established now, and they're part of that clique and part of that community of the beautiful people. So they really had nothing going for them. They go, that guy's good. It has nothing to do with what, he's got billions of dollars. That's what I just want to get into the same circles that he's in. And that's what Gen Zers are now kind of doing, apparently, is let's get into that right circle.
And then divorce them in 10 years.
But you're in the circle.
You're in with the people?
Yeah, and then you can create...
Did you do that?
No.
Did she do that?
No, absolutely not. We were both just very... we were just poor small-town radio people. When I met her, she was working... We were both working at the Forest Lake radio station. So we weren't running in any circles at all. I was making... $1,200 a month. She was probably making $1,000 a month. We didn't have that.
Wow.
And even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. It sounds as though that's becoming more and more what the Gen Zers want to do.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not just...
Climb up the ladder.
Yeah, climb up the ladder.
Well, and it's easier now, too, because you can just read about them online. You don't have to meet them out and then do the, 20 questions. You just get on their profile and it's like, okay, he's this old. Does he have? Nope, not a good job. Swipe, next one.
Right, exactly. It's an easy thing to do. There was one other story that I thought was interesting. Okay, where did it go? Oh, it was back on a couple of weeks ago, but I saved it because I thought we might like. Have you heard of this before? Many retailers offer returnless refunds. Just don't expect them to say for which products.
What does that mean? Return
the side over here with all those chairs. It looks like when you have a birthday party for one of your kids, you need to borrow chairs from the neighborhood. Like Brenda's going to bring me some chairs, and Aaron's going to bring me some chairs. They're not. Most of them are uniform, but sometimes you just got to bring in whatever chair you have. There's a little folding chair in the corner. Yeah.
That's right. So, like interior design, when you order furniture a particular year, right? So maybe they change the furniture after that, or they're discontinued. So it's very eclectic in our chairs on the outside here. Now, if something ever happens to these chairs, it's really hard to replace them at times. So it's interesting. You've got to kind of trashmire of like different types of chairs on the external part of this, but our support staff's awesome, man. They don't mind.
Well, and people are probably listening like, I'm never going to ever get to see this room that you're talking about. Number one, I'd say not true, because for kids camp, you bring, like I remember my then 6-year-old basically going through all the different meeting rooms and all that stuff.
Well, this one's technically off limits, but your son would walk in here. Yeah, so I'm just kidding.
Yeah, off limits.
We keep the doors open as they come on the tour, so that's
June 12th.
accurate.
So you can actually see what we're talking about, but I would highly recommend kids camp. My kid, I don't think is going to play football. I don't think that's in his future, but he had a hell of a time at kids camp that day.
Well, the great thing about our kids football camp is, I have 4 kids of my own, and I have 2 daughters who have nothing to do with football. They actually ask Heather, like, when's Dad's baseball game done? They're always in the hallway. They ain't got to coach baseball. They have no idea, right? So they're in the hallways. But when you come to our football camp, I mean, every mascot from every professional team's here. Every sport is represented in that indoor. I mean, my girls are doing gymnastics. They're having a cheer competition with the cheerleaders. It's everything but just football.
Right.
And it is one of the best 3 to 4 hours you can possibly have to drop your kid off. It's way better than any type of daycare or camp or fun camp or day camp that they could go at. I promise you, if you bring them here, they will leave exhausted, and you and your husband or your wife or whoever your significant other is, you'll have a great date night because they'll be out and sleeping by 7 o'clock p.m. and you guys can spend the evening together.
How about that? How
That's
do we
my
get info on
guaranteed
that?
promise to everybody.
Is there a web page where people can go find out how to register their kids for that?
We'll get it to you after the break.
Yeah. Check your local listing.
We'll look for it. Gophersports.com would be a good place to start.
That'd be a spot. That'd be a spot to start. All right, well, let's talk some football here. Well, that it concludes our home and garden segment here on everything that's cool in the football facility. Penn State and Minnesota, 26-25, the final score. The fourth-ranked Nittany Lions were on the ropes. You've, I'm sure, broken down the game film. You talked with Guardsy after the game, so now we're a few days after that. What's your assessment now, a few days after, and has it changed at all from when you talked to JG?
No, it definitely hasn't. I think it was a really good football game. You know, this isn't some type of fluke. You're down 21, you come back. This isn't like all of a sudden somebody stopped playing. That was a heavyweight championship fight. But that's what this team does. They've done it all year. We're a really, really good 6-5 football team. But there's some really good 6-5 football teams in our league right now. There's some really good 5-6 teams in our league right now. And it's amazing when you kind of look at the Big Ten and you got 4 teams that have kind of separated themselves a little bit, and everybody else is within 1 win with each other. It's really close, and the parity is really not equal, but it's there. And when you get to play 3 hours, you let it rip. And we have a very good football team who played a really good football team. And, you know, it came down to a few decisions. It came down to 2 turnovers. And that's the type of game that it was. And we let a few things get away from us. They made some decisions that if they don't get, those are some tough questions to ask or to answer. But we had some really tough decisions that we made that worked. We had some that didn't. They did too. But that's why I call it a championship fight, because you got to be able to take some of those chances, and some work, some don't. Some calls work, some don't. You got to be able to execute it at the end of the day, and they were able to execute one more play than us.
So what's Saturday night like then, when you pour everything in for hours and hours and hours? You feel like you're right there. You have an opportunity right at the end. You come up 1 point short. And you know, also you got to turn the page on Sunday and have one fewer day. And, you know, Wisconsin doesn't care what happened to you on Saturday, just like you don't care what happened to them in Lincoln. So what's Saturday night like after a tough one like that? Well,
we had to really kind of move on and get going onto Wisconsin. I mean, we knew that as we started to prepare a few weeks ago and during the bye week and doing some things organizationally of planning when we got to this, of what exactly we wanted to do. So we basically just moved on to Wisconsin, and coaches were really here early Sunday morning. They got with their families, and, you know, it's just people always ask, is that a harder loss to get over than some other? They're all hard. People asked me that before. I mean, they're all hard. I think they're just a different version of tough to get over, depending on like what it looked like. But you're always doing everything you can to improve, to be better. I think that, you know, I'm really proud of the team. I think everybody left there with, okay, our guys give us everything they have. They fight, they scratch, they claw. It came down to a few plays and that they made that we didn't. And at the end of the day, you're not going to beat a 4th-ranked team by turning the ball over twice and maybe not executing a few things that we called. So we all have to take accountability for it, look in the mirror. But the great thing about this team is they expected to win that football game. And I think that's where, in the 8 years I've been here, the expectation in year 8 is to do that. It's not like I hope we do that or maybe we can do that. We can do that. And this team has never backed down from anybody on this entire schedule. We played 7 one-possession games. We're 3-4 in those one-possession games, but those could go either way. This team is good enough to possibly, if those go our way, to be talked about in the top 6, 7 in the country. And then you also can be unranked. I mean, that's the margin for error in this league, and the margin for error on any given college Saturday within the Big Ten. And that's why I think it's the best league in the country when you're looking at the 9 conference games and the way that the non-conference is as well with the Power 4 opponent. It's a tough league. And but I know this, our players are giving us everything they have, and they're giving us their best. And as a head coach, you can't ask for anything else, as well as the coaching staff. I can't ask any more out of this coaching staff and our recruiting staff, our operations staff, what the organization is giving. Wish the ball bounced our way a little bit more, and we got to create those. But it's It's been really encouraging walking away on Saturday saying, okay, we got to continue to get better and fix a few things.
On the belief word, we talked earlier in the season where maybe Michigan first half, you weren't sure the team believed that they could play with a helmet school, that they could be there on the field, they could win at the big house. Second half, maybe that was unlocked. Saturday, like you said, you felt like from the jump they believed, and you guys played that way. So when did you feel that turning with this team? Because you've been telling them the whole season, I know you're a good team, I think you're a good team, I believe you're a good team. It's time for you guys to get on board with that as well. When did you start to see that turn?
Well, I think there's a difference between knowing, believing, and then doing. And I think the stages of that get to the doing really quickly, or you need proof to get there. Every team is different. Sometimes when they say you got a really experienced team coming back and you got 20 starters back on both sides of the ball, in the old school football, when we had, okay, here comes this really experienced team in class, that you could sit there and say, all right, they've done it for so long, and then you'd expect to win and really kind of pick up where you left off. These days, it's a little bit different. Every team is very unique. You're talking about adding 50 to 60 players on rosters a year, and you think you know what kind of team you have. You think your team knows what kind of team they are, and then you go out there and play. And I always tell you guys, the first game is like one of the most joyful times for a head coach. Stressful, yes, but more joyful because you have no idea. You think you know, but then you watch them play and they're like, oh, okay, now we know what kind of team we're going to have. And I think this team took some games to know and do what we were going to become. And it took some hard losses. It took some tough plays, Michigan fumbling, block punt within a few minutes of each other. Next thing you know, you're in the big house down a ton of points. But as they went, they really found their identity. And that's when I think we kind of figured some things out about this team. But you wish we can get there a little quicker. But some teams do and some teams don't.
You mentioned, too, in regard to the game, when you look back, that there were a lot of factors. You mentioned decisions. So as a head coach, I guess my question is, are you at a point in your career where you don't let the decisions, like you don't worry about it in terms of like beat yourself up? Like a loss is disappointing, I know. So you can spend Saturday disappointed. Do you spend time going, God, if I'd have done this differently, or why did we do it this way, or we have to study this? Or are you like, look, we made the decisions, we have to move on? Yeah, it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm just kidding. Garrett's looking at me. He wanted to know how I answered this question. Yeah, I care. I care a lot. My staff cares. Our players care. There wasn't a dry eye in that locker room. They care. Absolutely, you beat yourself up over every decision. You can't do anything about it, though. And I think that's where maybe I'm a little better, because I'm sitting there saying, okay, this is why I made the decision. This is all the information I had. These are the risks that were there. This is why that it benefited us. And then you make the decision. But you have a split second to make it. You're preparing all week for decisions that you might make or might not make. And you're filling your head with every scenario. You're actually watching games at times. I just let games run at times, and what would I do? What would I do? What would I do? And in the game film, it goes on to the next play. So you're already at the line of scrimmage. So it forces you to think maybe even a little bit faster situationally. But you always look back. There's always, every game I've ever been a part of, Grimmy, there's been 2 or 3 decisions that I'm like, man, whether we win or lose it, I'm like, okay, those are going to be the big decisions that I need to learn from. Not saying I regret the decision, just, okay, I could have maybe done this a little bit better. And I hope every player does the same thing, and as every staff member does the same thing, because that's the only way you grow, is taking the accountability, looking at the situation again and saying, okay, if I know now what I knew to know then, what could I have done? But you don't know what the outcome's going to be when you're making that decision, or it'd be easy. Yeah. Are there any particular from Saturday that you beat yourself up over more, or was it easy to live with anything from Saturday? Nothing offensively. Yeah. And I think there's talk out there with the offensive issue, the offensive plays with some of the trick plays, but we score on a reverse flea flicker. That's a beautiful play. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how we practiced it. Penn State's red zone defense is one of the best defenses in the red zone in the country. When you get the ball at the 9-yard line, the success of a touchdown is incredibly low against them. Or a turnover. Can't turn the ball over. That's the worst. So there are some things we had inside the 10-yard line that we called. One worked, one didn't work. But it was one play. We still had first down. The throw to Ariante I'm talking about. We still had first down, and we still had third down. And we still didn't move the ball. We kicked the field goal and got points. To me, that's a successful
point drive. We love touchdowns, but we still got points. And so for me, that would be the one that everybody's talking about. The special teams fake punt, everybody's talking about that, but you make the decision when you make it. If he wants to fake, it doesn't matter what you call. If they want to fake it for 1 yard, which is their intention, they're going to get 1 yard, or they're going to fight for 1 yard. No matter what team you have out there, you still have to stop it. They got 2 more 4th downs after that.
Right.
We still have, all we need is a field goal. They took some opportunities and chances that if you don't get, Coach Franklin's got to explain those decisions of why they're not the 4th-ranked team in the country anymore and maybe out of the playoff. You make those decisions on both sides, and he made some great calls that worked. He also made some great calls that didn't work. We made some great calls that worked. We made some great calls that didn't work. So it's not that that you go back. I mean, of course, when they don't work, you're sitting there looking at it like, okay, this is what everybody's going to say why we lost. That's not why we lost. One play never loses you a game, but one play can end the game and win the game for you. And we just never got to that play.
All right, let's take our first break. We'll come back. We'll keep talking about that game. Also looking ahead to the Black Friday contest, Minnesota and Wisconsin. We want to thank alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors. They should be on your team roster. If you're selling a business, get your Sunbelt no-cost confidential business valuation today. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com. Stay with us. It's Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck from Learfield.
The fan favorite ticket and beverage deal returns to Gopher men's hockey at 3M Arena at Mariucci this season. Get your game ticket and first beverage in one convenient package. Available for every Friday night Big Ten matchup. Get yours now at gophersports.com.
No matter who you are or what you do, there's a Ford vehicle that can help you own the day. Make life on the go a walk in the park with the new Ford Explorer. Become the MVP of the work site with the unrivaled performance of a new built Ford Tough F-Series truck, the best-selling trucks in America. Or discover what it really means to adventure in the great outdoors with the new Bronco Sport. Whether it's for work or play, there's a Ford with a great deal waiting at your local Northland Ford dealers. Don't wait. Get behind the wheel of a new Ford today. Based on calendar year total sales.
Kids, some days keeping up with them takes everything you've got. And in return, they give us everything they've got. At M Health Fairview Pediatrics, we've made it our life's work to care for kids. To do anything and everything we can for every kid who comes through our doors. Because the most important people in your world are our whole world. Learn more about a world of care just for kids at mhealthfairviewpeds.org.
Are you looking for concert or sports tickets? As a local Minnesota company, Ticket King is a company you can trust. They have seats to fit every budget and even offer parking or tailgating passes, and all tickets are guaranteed. Each order is personally attended to by one of our dedicated customer service representatives who are committed to providing you with a courteous, professional, quick, convenient experience. Visit us at TicketKingOnline.com or call us directly at 612-341-4131.
Gopher fans, check out the spot for Gopher Weekly with PJ Fleck. The Tipsy Steer in High Pines in Roseville is a great place to watch the games with a large outdoor space to eat, drink, and hang out with your friends. Check this place out. Locally owned refreshing beverages and food sourced from area farmers, serving on menu favorites like bacon lollipops and armadillo eggs. The sassy menu also features brick oven pizzas and acclaimed burgers. Tipsy Steer in High Pines in Roseville, County Road C and Snelling in Roseville, or online at tipsysteer.com. Go Gophers!
How much can you save when you shop Cub? Let's just say you might need a bigger cart. We've lowered prices so you save more. On Essential every day, it's easy to see the savings. Across the aisles, from pantry products to frozen foods to delicious dairy and more. Your family will love it, guaranteed, or your money back. Shop Cub and save today. My Cub, my way. See store for details.
Hey, Gopher fans. Ready to show your true colors? The University of Minnesota Bookstores has everything you need to gear up for game day. From the latest maroon and gold apparel to exclusive Gopher merchandise, we've got your fan essentials covered. Visit us in-store at Coffin Memorial Union or shop online at bookstores.umn.edu. University of Minnesota Bookstores, your one-stop shop for all things Gopher pride. Sky U Ma.
Gopher fans, when you want to get around Gold Country safely, securely, and on time, call Carey Minneapolis St. Paul. Carey Limousines, a global leader in business travel, offering a world-class fleet and reservation staff who make sure you arrive on time, every time. The team's available 24/7, so give them a call whenever you're ready to travel. 612-623-0565 or visit the webpage, CareyMPLS.com. And go Gophers!
The game against Iowa on September 21st recognized the 12th annual Celebrate Ag and Food Day at Huntington Bank Stadium. Both the game broadcast and the presentation inside the stadium celebrated the tireless efforts in the agriculture industry. Gopher fans, we can all be proud of the continued efforts, results, and talented people that work in these industries to provide a sustainable food supply with so many changing variables. The Gophers would like to thank the presenting sponsors of this event: CHS, Compeer Financial, Undeniably Dairy, and Bex.
Ho, welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyota thoughts.
Hi.
So Jan, got any red Tacomas?
Yeah, we have a great selection of vehicles, including Tacomas.
After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Did you say Florida? Can the elves and I go too?
Dealer inventory may vary. Current offers on these vehicles end December 2nd. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyota Fun, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
The fan favorite ticket and beverage deal returns to Gopher men's hockey at 3M Arena at Mariucci this season. Get your game ticket and first beverage in one convenient package. Available for every Friday night Big Ten matchup. Get yours now at gophersports.com.
It's now time for the AVR Remix on Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck. AVR. Promises made, promises delivered.
Major steps to the right, waiting for the snap is Brosmer. And it is a handoff to Major. Has a seam inside the 15, inside the 10, 5, touchdown, Minnesota Golden Gopher. 20 yards, Marcus Major, his third rushing touchdown of the season. And Minnesota has the lead first quarter from the 21. Oh, here's a little trickery. Back to Brosmer on a throwback, and they've got a tight end all alone. Touchdown, Jamison Gears. A toss right to Taylor, who then gave it the other way to Jackson, who then on a third toss gave it to Brosmer, and he fires the strike. Let it rip, said the head coach.
And there's our AVR remix. Welcome back to Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck, Mike Grimm, and Justin Gard, along with the head coach PJ Fleck. We're on campus this week for the show. And coach, a couple of impressive touchdowns there in our AVR remix, including that flea flicker type play. It went to the tight end. I finished the call, as you heard there, by saying, let it rip, because that's exactly what you told me you wanted your team to do in the pregame interview, and you heard the highlight there.
Well, we let it rip with the offensive tackle pass. That just didn't work. So let it rip has multiple different results, unfortunately. But the reverse flea flicker really worked, and I tell you, Jamison Gears does a really good job. Line executed it perfectly. Really good timing. It's all about that play's all about timing. And I thought they executed it beautifully, and a good job by Max putting it right on the money.
Well, if the Netflix show Quarterback told us anything, it's that players love those type of plays. Like Mahomes basically gets to make one up every Wednesday, I guess, and present it to Andy Reid, and then he's the head coach. He gets to decide. So I have to imagine when those things come in the headset, I'd love to know what you're thinking, but also the players have been working on it forever, and I'm sure they're excited to let it rip, right?
Absolutely. Ariante's pass called Big Fella. I mean, that was that play. But here, we don't just go, okay, here it comes, we're going to call this play. When you're calling those types of plays, you're talking about if I get down there, that's going to be one of them. And we talk about that. And as a head football coach, those are things that, you sign off on. And that's why it's always my decision. And that's, Greg does such a great job throughout the week. And we have really good talks about what we're thinking. And inside the 10-yard line, I mean, the field goal percentage is really high against Penn State. So you're going to have to attack them a lot of different ways. And we had 2 weeks to prepare for it. And we executed it all the time in practice in both plays. And we had a few more in there, too, that we didn't get to, unfortunately. But hopefully we can get those in the next few weeks. But everybody has those, and you always carry them. And, unfortunately that we didn't get down there enough to be able to really kind of empty it all out. But I thought the guys executed really well on the reverse pass.
Well, and to get it down there, another reason why I liked the Ariante play, because we've all read those same numbers about Penn State, but to get it down there, your guys had to make some plays. I mean, think about a play that I think Jackson made. Certainly Elijah made a tough catch right there. A lot of the plays that were made, it wasn't like, oh, we just completely out-schemed Penn State and it was great. It was like, no, like he had to throw it in between three guys. Daniel Jackson got blown up and it was a great catch. Or Elijah Spencer caught it in traffic. Like it was just, that was the type of day it was of guys just had to make really tough plays.
They had to. They're going to have to make contested catches all game. And I thought Greg did a really good job scheming it up, especially the timing aspect. They are on the quarterback so much quicker than what we've seen. And that's a credit to them. I mean, and this is Big Ten football. But they have one of the best defensive fronts in all of college football. And the timing aspect of Max getting the ball out of his hand. We were sacked one time. And I thought Ariante, I thought our whole line, Philip Daniels, with those edge rushers to have one sack, that's a combination of great blocking, getting the ball out on time, creating space, making contested catches. But that's one of the best defenses we've seen in a long time. And, Illinois has got a really good offense, score 7 points on those guys. You look at the good Big Ten offenses in there, and they struggled versus them for the most part. But I kept looking up at the scoreboard, and you could see that the statistics were close. The thing we had to be able to win was that time of possession. And we still won it, but it was really tilted until the last 6 minutes. And, they didn't give up the ball by executing 3 4th downs. And unfortunately, they ended with the ball in their hand. But I think that skewed the numbers even more because we possessed the ball. We said that we were going to have to gain a ton of first downs. You couldn't just beat these guys in shots. I mean, they're going to get you. They're going to sack fumble you. Somebody's going to come free. Some blitz is going to come free. And they force you to do that. And their secondary is really good. But they force you to get the ball out of your hand pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, and from that standpoint, you mentioned the turnovers too in the open, and sack fumbles, all that stuff. And it had to be frustrating. It wasn't a sack fumble at all. It just kind of a slip of the hand. It looked like on a option kind of pitch to the side, and it's a tough one to have against a team that is as good as they are.
I mean, you chalk that one up to life,
right?
I mean, because there's no it just falls out of his hands, and he didn't mean to do that. There wasn't some type of ball handling. It was just fell out, and it happens. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but when it happens in that moment, I mean, I loved how they scrambled for it and fought for it, but that was a huge play in the game. But again, not one play ever loses you the game at all. And listen, that guy is as good as it gets, especially with ball security and going 20 quarters out, turning the ball over. But the last 2 games, we turned the ball over in critical moments inside our own zone. And that's what's got us beat, unfortunately, when you're talking just the football part of it. And that's unfortunate for us. But our guys did a great job responding and kept fighting and scratching and clawing and making it a great game. And still, with 6 minutes to go, here we are, possibly getting the ball back, and they execute a play really well.
I thought just watching by the naked eye, you have a much better idea of it because, one, you know football. But even on Max's interception, a lot of times an interception, you'd be like, oh, what's he doing? Not him specific, but, oh, he threw it into traffic or he's double covered or why would you throw there? It looked like the decision was correct. He's going to the right guy. He just maybe undershot it a little bit. He's on the run trying to sling it in there. But I think because he doesn't make many bad decisions, I think the decision to throw there, it looked to me at least like it was the right decision.
No, you know football too. That was correct. That was a correct decision. Just missed the throw by a few feet.
Yeah.
And I'd say a few feet. I mean, because it just needed to be shaped a little bit more, and he was on the run. It just didn't come out how it needed to come out. And unfortunately, they were able to pick it. But right guy, he doesn't make that throw and that mistake very often. And it just like they say in Top Gun, get him back up there. Just keep him throwing. Yeah. Keep him throwing. Get him back out there. Keep him throwing. And I'm really, really proud of his resolve.
When we talked after the game, you talked about some of the different things they did after the half to get Tyler Warren the ball. You felt like he did a really good job with him in the first half. And then there was one drive, I think it was after their quarterback had kind of a meltdown on the sideline. They said, we're just going to start getting 44 involved. It was 4 or 5 catches on that one drive. So what did you see that, because you obviously were aware of him. You've been talking about him all week, but so is everybody this season, and he still finds a way to get the ball.
Yeah, and I'm sure they didn't just draw up plays, but I'm sure they just went to him more and said, okay, we're gonna highlight him more. And listen, if we're gonna go down, we're gonna go down with our best player getting the ball as many times as possible. And they did. And I tell people all the time, they ask me what I think about him, and I said I think he's a top 10 player in the country. I think he should be talked about for the Heisman Trophy. You take him off Penn State's team, with all due respect, they're very good, but he is he makes them a national championship contender. And if we're talking about what the Heisman Trophy does on a 10-1 football team, and he plays quarterback, he plays running back, he plays tight end, he plays receiver.
He punted.
He punted. They were called timeout before that, which nobody saw.
What was that about?
I don't know. They said that no one saw him call timeout except everybody on our side.
Yeah, everybody in the place.
Which is fine, but nobody saw that. And I don't know if he was, pounding, a fist to a hand but I saw the TV copy. He was calling timeout, but nobody saw that. And then the punt goes out of bounds, but I thought the punt went out of bounds closer.
Yeah.
But nobody kind of saw, I think everybody kind of, when he started walking off, was thinking that, okay, he's going to call time, or they're just going to, let it go down, or I don't know, but whatever happened. Yeah. But he's really good. How about that? So that's where I started the conversation. Is I think he should be in the Heisman talk because I think he's one of the best players in college football. And Heisman Trophy, you take that person off the team. Are they the same team? And Penn State's got great players, but they are more significant with 44 in there and can be so hard to prepare for and play against with him in there because he does so much. And I'm not comparing him to Travis Hunter. I'm not saying that, but they do a lot of things for their team. And that's what the Heisman Trophy is about. Yeah. And they're a 10-1 top 4 team. So why is he not higher up there? I have no idea. Maybe people that are voting haven't actually played against him because he is one of the best players I've ever seen at this level, and as versatile as he is.
Not to make it X's and O's with Kevin O'Connell, but on the play that ended the game, that last first down, they had like a tackle, right? Wide right, and then they brought him in. Like, what is the purpose of that? What are they doing, and where are they making you guys look?
Deception, right?
Yeah,
deception, and it's a tight end. It's a tight end hide sneak off the backside, and they do a really good job of it. And it took a while to do it and develop because we've got people there. We just don't make the play. And then once he got to the other side of the field, and we kind of lose our contain our responsibility. Our eyes go somewhere else, and he sneaks out the backside, and there he is. And did a good job by going down. And just unfortunate 3-4 downs in a row.
Yeah.
Because I think if we got that ball back, we were going to move down the field, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I thought, too, maybe a key play. You had talked about Aller's mobility. The play before the 3rd and 2, it's 2nd and 9, and you almost get the sack, and then he's able to avoid it, and then he runs to make it 3rd and 2. If that's 3rd and 12... or an incomplete or a throwaway, then it changes everything too. But again, it's a pretty skilled quarterback making a play, right?
78%, right?
Yeah.
The ball, we lose 2-0. 0-2, whatever you want to think of it. The tackling, that we miss a tackle there. We miss a tackle to change the game. We miss a tackle, right? That's the tackling battle, which I thought we tackled very well throughout the game. But when you miss a tackle in a critical moment, again, it doesn't lose you the game, but it can help you win the game. And we missed that tackle. Then the explosive play, which I thought that we were making plays, again, of what they give you if you're really, really smart and can continue to move the football without having self-inflicted wounds and them kind of getting you in their web. So those are the categories to win games. And with a 1-point game and us not winning the turnover battle and still have that's how good our football team is and what they can be. It's a tough league.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll have more. Stay with us. It's Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck from Learfield.
The Fan.
Welcome back. It's more of Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck. Glad you are with us here. We will be back to the Tipsy Steer and High Pines in a few weeks. Watch your local listings. We'll let you know. We'll have a bowl preview and a signing day review. Right now, though, we're on campus as the week gets a little screwy with a Black Friday game. So today, Tuesday, is a Wednesday, right? Normally.
Yeah,
we're going to do this out loud as we go. Try to help each other out.
Yes, today, Tuesday, is Wednesday.
So today was a 3rd down type practice.
Gotcha.
And so everything just gets moved up a day. So, I mean, it's kind of confusing unless you're in the rhythm and you got to make a day a certain day and then the players get it.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And it's amazing because you become the only ones on campus at some point.
Yeah.
And everybody goes home for Thanksgiving. And you have multiple Thanksgiving meals for the guys. That's one thing we've learned. And we used to give them one, but guys would be like, are we having a Thanksgiving meal? And they're like, yeah. Are we having another one? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want one, yeah. So then they keep the leftovers. You know how it goes.
No question. It's always an exciting week. Tonight you'll have your turkey giveaway. Tell us about that.
That's tonight. Yeah. Our turkey drive is, I think, one of our favorite events. I say that about the Halloween one. I think that's exceptional. That's our coaches go to that one. Our coaches' kids. It's in the middle of usually a game plan, but who cares? I mean, that's what life's about, And this one's one of my favorites because we got 500 turkeys for the Row the Boat turkey drive that are donated by a lot of different people. But Cub Foods teams up with us and given to, so many families in need. And the amount of turkeys has just continued to go up over the years. We got about 50 players because, 50 have class, 50 don't. And they're signed up and they come out. And, this is game week. This is a huge game, rivalry week. But some of our staff, some of our players are all out there giving away turkeys and really just kind of getting into that festive mode about what life's about, what the holiday season's about, the gratefulness, the giving, the humility. I'll never put football truly in front of the life lesson. And I want people to understand that serving families in needs way bigger than a game. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to make up for those hours that we're out there.
Right.
But you've got to be able to celebrate those moments. And I learned that as a very, very young coach where there are some people I work for that didn't celebrate any holiday. I can't tell you how many Halloweens I missed with my kids because I was working and I wasn't allowed to leave. I will never let one of my staff members ever miss Halloween, ever. Now, we come back after it and we work, but you'll never miss those moments with your kids. We celebrate the holidays when we go to our bowl game. We celebrate the coaches' kids, and we celebrate our kids.
You guys have those presents.
Our kids have a present sitting for them on the plane to go to the bowl game that they get to unwrap at the same time, just in case they never got a gift as a kid and never had that feeling. And I don't know. I've always believed in that. And just because maybe I didn't get something as I was raised in the profession, I'm not going to limit people from having that experience. It's more of you learn from people maybe what not to do versus what you really want to do. Mm-hmm. And because of those maybe negative experiences that you had for all the different reasons, you want to make sure that you don't put that upon your staff. And I think there's two coaches to that. I'm going to make people do what I did because I had to do it. So I'm going to give them that type of treatment. And then I didn't have that, so I'm going to make sure they don't, they don't ever experience that. So that's all choices that you get to make when, you are in charge.
When you get that chair in here
when
in the
you get
conference
this
room.
chair, yeah. So.
Even as people inch closer to you, you still get to make that call.
That's right.
And if you lose to Wisconsin, it's not because you handed out turkeys on Wednesday. Like, I don't think you'll be sitting there on...
Well, somebody will make that.
Post game, I'll say, Coach, do you regret the turkey drive in hindsight? Let's talk about that.
No,
I don't think it'll be because of that.
No.
It is like a festival moving to town, though, when all the food comes here to get ready for tonight.
It's unbelievable.
Like, if you're walking around campus, like when we're here for stuff, it's like, here's this, here's that side, here's this, and it's crazy.
And the organization of it is unreal. I mean, it's a drive-through.
Yep.
And you know how long the street is right here, and it's full of everything. I mean, there's inflatables, there's movies going on as people wait, there's hot cocoa. They're getting different parts. Each part is a different type of food group that they're getting as they go down there. And watching our players, as as people, be the best version of themselves and be a really grateful, humble person and really be who they are as a person, giving out, making these people's, holiday a really special time you'll never forget that as a coach. And that's what you remember. It's not just the wins and losses and plays. You remember those times. And I still remember Philip Howard, how great he was at a night like tonight. Or Dragan Kesic, of what he's going to dress up as or what he's going to have or the people's lives he's going to change because of his positivity and his energy. And I love people seeing our players for who they are, not the number they wear on Saturdays.
All right, so with Wisconsin, big game, as you mentioned.
Yeah, big game.
How much have you seen this game dictate your off-season conversations when you're running around town? Like after you beat Wisconsin, after you lose Wisconsin, whatever season you've had before that. And you can lump Iowa in there if you'd like, but this game specifically, the first time you got it back in 2018 to knocking them off a couple times in a row, how much does this game dictate how your off-season is going to go when you're running around the Twin Cities?
I mean, I can give you some really coach speak and say it's only one game, so it's a 1-0 championship season. But I think people talk about this game more than anything in our state. And I think the same thing with Wisconsin. There's so much pride, tradition, pageantry behind it. I'm just honored to be a part of it every year. But, when you do pass people and see people in the offseason, they bring up usually one game, and it's this one.
Yeah.
And you're either in for a nice conversation with that person or you're walking away as fast as you possibly can and pretending you don't hear them. I've never not heard, you know what's coming at sometimes. And usually once they start talking about that, or I get distracted and check my phone, pretend I got to run somewhere really quick. But it's also nice when you do have that victory to talk about it a little bit with those people. And I just love that our fans care that much. They do. They'll stop you anywhere. One thing about our fans is they're not shy about stopping you.
What do you see in Wisconsin this week?
they're just, they're multiple. They do so much on offense, and they do such a good job of getting you in space. Not only just with the run game, but the pass game. And the way I mean that is that they spread you out, and they can run counter or any type of gap scheme with the best of them, any type of zone scheme with the best of them. Their offensive line is really talented. One of the better ones we played against. So they spread you out, and you think you're going to have this type of run and shoot type offense and spread offense and all this. And then they can run the ball so effectively, and they have so many backs that are really explosive, tough to tackle, get hard yards, are fast. That's what makes them tough. And their quarterback, he can find windows in every single throw and put it on the money. And their RPO game's really good. They understand spacing. And they can move the football efficiently up and down the football field. And they have the explosive playmakers to really, change the game quickly. You look at that Nebraska game, their wideouts have a heck of a day. They're explosive play after explosive play after explosive play. And I know Nebraska ends up winning, but they were right there and just more explosive plays as the game went on and just couldn't get it in the end zone towards the end of the game. But, that was a closer game than what the score says. And then defensively, they're a typical Wisconsin team. They're big, they're stout, they tackle well, play really aggressive, really tough style, get a lot of people in the box, aggressive on the outside, and force you to try to be one-dimensional.
And they've had a couple games at Camp Randall, whether it's against Penn State or Oregon. Funny, two of the top 4 teams in the country. Like, they were leading Oregon at halftime just a couple of weeks ago, right? And Oregon really they kind of had to James Franklin it a little bit. Dan Lanning had to go for a 4th and 9 to start the fourth quarter. They had to take that game away. So they've really hung in, especially at home. Yeah, they're a really good team. You never listen to the record in a rivalry week, no matter what it is. This is one of the greatest rivalries in college football. The oldest standing rivalry, which we're really proud to be a part of since 1890, and most consecutive played rivalry. And there's one win that separates the two teams. It's 63, 62, and I think 8 ties. And it's just like that in the preparation for it, and you know what you're getting yourself into, and you know what type of game it's going to be, and we just got to play our best football. We know that, and I'm sure Wisconsin's thinking the same thing, and that's what makes it always a really good game to watch. This game was so important that if I remember right, during the pandemic when no one was agreeing on anything, everybody agreed that Wisconsin and Minnesota had to play in the final game, if I remember that right? Didn't it get canceled originally? It got canceled earlier, and then we were supposed to play Rutgers and out with that and in with Wisconsin. So you got to play it again. Congratulations. We won't talk about what happened that day. We won't talk about the overtime. I vaguely remember. I appreciate that. Thanks for throwing the overtime. Oh, the overtime. That's right. And I was the only one in the crowd, and they hadn't shoveled Camp Randall, and I was cold, and then the kick, and I said, all right, well, there we go. That's it. But we won't talk about any of that. But that's how important the game was. Everybody agreed we've got to get this game on the schedule some way, somehow. Yeah, and I think when you look at the new Big Ten, we have two, I think, of the tougher protected rivalries in all of college football. When you look at Iowa, Wisconsin, the tradition, the length of those rivalries. Those are real games. Those are real games. Those are real Big Ten games. And those are our protected rivalries, which I know we're really excited about, and our fans are excited about that those are protected, but those are really, really tough games. No doubt. Let's take our final break. Guardsy gets to stay with us because we're on campus here. I'm just going to listen. How about I'm going to let you guys talk. Usually you miss this last segment. I might leave early just to turn the tables here. We do want to thank the University of Minnesota Bookstore, and there you can discover the area's largest selection of U of M and Golden Gopher apparel and novelties for fans of all ages, from the latest fashions to traditional favorites. It's the University of Minnesota Bookstore, your one-stop shop. Visit online, bookstores.umn.edu. You can shop in person on campus at the Student Union. We normally give away the $25 gift card. We'll do that here in a couple of weeks when we're back to the Tipsy Steer in High Pines for our bowl preview show. Let's take our final break. We'll come back and wrap up the show. Don't go away. It's Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck from Learfield.
Ho-ho! Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, Jan, got any red Tacomas?
Yeah, we have a great selection of vehicles, including Tacomas.
After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Did you say Florida? Can the elves and I go too?
Dealer inventory may vary. Current offers on these vehicles end December 2nd. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
The game against Iowa on September 21st recognized the 12th annual Celebrate Ag and Food Day at Huntington Bank Stadium. Both the game broadcast and the presentation inside the stadium celebrated the tireless efforts in the agriculture industry. The Gophers would like to thank the following participating sponsors: Ag Country Farm Credit, Bushel Boy Farms, Hormel, Minnesota Biofuels Association, Minnesota Corn Growers Association, Minnesota Soybean, and Brownfield Ag News for their continued support.
Do you know how plastic bottles become shirts, shoes, or backpacks? What happens when your recyclables leave your curb? Can they really become something new? Visit WM.com to learn how WM helps turn your plastic bottles into everyday products, giving materials a second life. WM has the recycling infrastructure, innovation, and expertise to serve our Twin Cities community and care for our planet. The recycling process starts and ends with you. Visit WM.com to learn more.
You can guarantee yourself a Minnesota maroon and gold win when you sell your business with Sunbelt Business Advisors. Sunbelt is a local alumni-owned company and proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics. Sunbelt provides business owner brokerage services to small businesses as well as mergers and acquisition services for companies up to $150 million in revenue. Are you thinking about selling? Sunbelt can help you make the most from your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com for a free confidential value range. Minnesota's largest seller of companies. sunbeltminnesota.com.
Welcome back. Our remaining moments here with the head coach, PJ Fleck, on Gopher Football Weekly. We're on campus this week. Mike Grimm and Justin Gard with PJ Fleck. 11 o'clock is the kickoff time Black Friday game. 9 o'clock, JG and the gang will take air with the pregame show. Right here and right now, we want to thank Dan Robotham, earning the big payday today here on campus with all the gear. Looks like he's landing a 747 here in the conference room.
I can't believe all of this fits in that trunk.
Unbelievable.
That case.
Unbelievable. He is our chief engineer on site here. Teo Porta is our producer. Paul Rovnat, Garrett Chernoff, Chandler Bunning, thank you so much all season long as well. We will have the one more show coming up in a few weeks at the Tipsy Steer.
Chandler's parents are in Maui actually right now.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
How about that? Look at that.
That's good living.
Yeah, that's
good living for Thanksgiving.
Hoops going on now out there with the Maui invite too. Right. So it is the Black Friday game. It's a road game. Thanksgiving's a travel day. What kind of a challenge as we are here on Tuesday does that present for you to get ready with a shortened week and a travel day on a bus thrown in there?
Yeah, I mean, we're the highwaymen. Here we go. We're bussing. That's for sure. We love doing that. We love getting on the bus. Kind of gives that old school feel, high school. Get on the bus, head to Madison, and we'll do the times Iowa City at times. But it just makes everything just expedited a little bit more, and we had the ability a few weeks ago to start the prep a little bit just to be able to give us a heads up and give us some stuff that we could be able to, hit the ground running, after the Penn State game. And I thought our coach has done a great job of that. Today's practice in the morning was really early, or yesterday, the practice was really early in the morning. And then we came back for night meetings. But today, our guys did a great job. I mean, it was a Wednesday practice, so it was Thursday. It was third down. Now we're not able to kind of get ahead. Some weeks we're able to get ahead and just get a little bit into maybe some short yardage goal line, get into some green zone just for a little walkthrough because we might have an appetizer for it and get to a sample size of it. But this week we're doing a little more traditional where each day is a completely different install. So that's the only thing that changes. But our guys will be ready to play on Friday afternoon.
So we don't know when the next coaches show is going to be, but we learned earlier this week that whenever it is, we can still be talking about Max Brosmer. We can still be talking about Quinn Carroll. Jalen Logan Redding said he's coming back. We do our TV show after this. He's been like a multi-year guest on that. He gets to come back next year and do it now. What's it mean to have all those guys in the day and age of opt-outs for many different reasons? And I'm sure some of your guys might, to have those guys already saying we want to keep playing with this group.
Yeah, I think in the world of college football, you're always going to have opt-outs for different reasons. But I just love playing the game. I love watching the game. I love coaching the game. I just think that the more you can play, the more proof it gives to people who are going to draft you and who are going to take you. The NFL is about proof. If it's a small sample size, that's not enough proof. Big sample size, more proof. That means low risk, high risk, right? And I think the NFL is all about limiting as much risk as you can have. So having those guys want to, one, come back, but two, play in the bowl game. I think everybody has their own opinions of that. I just think it's great that, Max is going to play in the bowl game. We got some guys coming back next year. Should be a lot of fun, but, here we are on, Tuesday of game week. And, we got a big game coming up on Friday.
Let's chop some wood Friday with the axe.
You got it. Row the boat, Sky Go Gophers. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
All right, there he is, the head coach PJ Fleck and Justin Gard and our entire crew. This has been Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck from Learfield.
This message is for Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision the whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Live from Tipsy Steer and High Pines, Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck has been presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com. Gopher Football Weekly with PJ Fleck has also been brought to you by Tipsy Steer and High Pines, located at County Road C in Snelling, proud sponsor of Gopher Football, and by Cub, the official grocer of Gopher Athletics. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Gopher Sports Network.